Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is Grimmjow in Bleach. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by BLADESTARF60 Blazer and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The King is back. Disclaimer. I don't own Bleach or Naruto. If I did I would be eating shrimp right now in a diamond-encrusted throne while taking in the scenery of my loyal subjects, building the 30th statue of me in my honor. If they don't finish in half an hour I will drown them all in molten lava. Yes, lava. Note. All those who have read my story and like to thank you. I am making some edits to fix grammar errors and make my story more awesome. Talking someone talking. Thinking someone thinking. Pounds $68 something I made up. The king is back. Grimmjow was dying. He could feel his life fading away with every strained breath he took. Neutra's sudden attack was devastating, but Grimmjow was able to endure the pain and witness Neutra's fight against Ichigo, then Nell and finally his death at the hands of Kenpachi Zaraki. Ha! Noita took his time, but that bastard is finally dead. Chuckled Grimmjow. Now that the match was over, Grimmjow did that thing where someone is near death and relives his life. The life he recalled though was not his current one. Instead it was the one he had before he became an Ranker, before he met Dairoy and the rest of his group, before he became Grimmjow. Yes, he is thinking about his life before this one. Back in Konoha. Flashback no Jutsu. Sasuke retrieval arc. Kakashi arrived on the scene where he. Naruto. Sasuke. Witness at each other, one holding the Rasengan to disable the other Chidori to kill. The Kyuubi brat thinks he can take down an Uchiha. Please, he has no real skill, and even if he did, Sasuke no. That Rasengan. That kind of power is too much for Sasuke to overcome. With that in mind, Kakashi races off to save, in his mind, his greatest student. Rasengan. Chidori. Otendoryu Heki, Earth Rising Wall no Jutsu, called out Kakashi as he spewed mud from his mouth, which hardened into a wall, strong enough to counter both jutsus. Kakashi sensei what R started Naruto when. Fuchius. Doten. Suga no Jutsu. Summoning. Earth Release. Tracking Fang technique, and several dog appeared out of nowhere and clamped their jaws on Naruto's arms, chest and legs. Ayarg, screamed Naruto. Kakashi, what are you doing? Asked Sasuke, puzzled. Come on Sasuke, I explain about the Kyuubi brat on the way. Kakashi said with his eye smile before poofing away with Sasuke and Naruto. A few hours later. Naruto, Kakashi and Sasuke are currently in the execution square. It would make so much sense if Sasuke was being executed, but hey, people are idiots, what are gonna do? So instead Naruto is being executed for treason and attempting to murder a fellow genin. Everyone in the village came to see, in their minds, the maniacal Kyuubi brat be slayed by the savior of the Leaf Village, Sasuke Uchiha. If Tsunade was smart she would sell tickets and pay of her debt. Joked Naruto. Ha. I'm gonna miss you, kid. Said Kyuubi. After a while Naruto and Kyuubi got along as they were stuck together till death, ironically. Yeah, me too, Kyuubi remarked Naruto before he cut off the connection. Well, if he was going down he won't do it quietly. Looking through the crowd he saw more than a few familiar faces glaring hatefully at him. Guranai, Anko, Kakashi, Sakura. What was I thinking? Inoo, great, another fangirl, Shikamaru. It was endless. The only people he didn't see were Gaara and his siblings. I should have fled to Suna and Hinata. I wonder where she is. She always acted weird around me. Guess she hates me too. Looking forward he could see Konohamaru, Yuden and Mogi crying. Looking straight into his eyes Naruto could tell that the tears were really crying for him. Nai-sen sniffs Konohamaru. Naruto's eyes softens at the sight in front of him. Seems some people do care after all. Naruto Uzumaki, you have been charged with treason for attempting to kill a fellow leaf shinobi, said Tsunade as she arrived to the execution stand. For this you have been charged with death, she said while scowling at the blonde. Wow, some godparent you turn out to be, remarks Naruto. Smack. How dare you, brat. Rages Tsunade after slapping him. Sasuke comes in front of Naruto, banged up but okay. Time to die, loser. Don't worry though, as your death will bring me one step closer to achieving my goal of killing Itachi and one day becoming Hokage. Wasn't that your dream? I hope you don't mind if I take that too. Said Sasuke, grinning at Naruto as he got his Chidori ready and the crowd cheering for the Uchiha to kill the blonde. Sasuke, you can have the dream, as I'd rather be dead than be Hokage of these idiots, and I'd rather be dead than live another minute seeing your ugly duck-butted hairstyle with your belief that everyone is inferior to you. So get it over with, you bastard. Unless of course you are afraid. Said Naruto, knowing how to bait the Uchiha by attacking the boy's ego. I'll show you who's afraid. Said Sasuke before running right at Naruto and slammed the Chidori into Naruto's chest that pierced the boy's heart while looking the blonde right in the eye. One last thing before I die, team. You told me in our fight that in order to achieve the power you wanted, your best friend has to die, and you said I was your best friend. Well, let me give you some news to this grand plan of yours in getting those eyes through my death team. I'm not your best friend. I never was. You called me loser and nothing and basically claimed I'm inferior to you. Maybe I am all those things, but it is through those things that I deny you the means to achieve those eyes and laugh at your lost opportunity to gain what you've wanted from the start, said Naruto, laughing at the shocked look on the Uchiha's face and waited until death took him to see Sasuke had not acquired the next level of the Sharingan. In his last act in living and into death, Uzumaki Naruto had won against Uchiha Sasuke. Then all went dark. And after that he woke up as an Uchiha, vaguely remembering the killing he did as a hollow. Then meeting Dai-Roy and his group, then ending up in service to Aizen. So this is how I die. If only I could see Hinata one more time, said Grimmjow, as during his time as an Aranker, he eventually realized that Hinata loved him and she didn't come to his execution because the pain was too much. Soon the pain stops and everything turns hazy yet peaceful. Grimmjow slowly closed his eyes for the last time. Welcome Grimmjow Jijurjakas, boomed a powerful voice, jolting the blue-haired Aranker into consciousness. Opening his eyes, Grimmjow looked onwards as glowing white entity that screamed power approached him. It made Aizen seem like a low-class hollow in comparison. You must be Kami, the Soul King, said Grimmjow while standing up with no pain. His body had healed completely with every wound except for the hole in his chest gone. Correct. I have brought you here before me with an offer, said Kami, seeing the blue-haired Espada look at him with a raised eyebrow. An offer? Said Grimmjow, since he didn't expect this at all. I know of your past, young one. I know who you were before becoming this form that now stands in front of me. I wish to offer you the chance to return to your world you once called home, said Kami, seeing Grimmjow narrow his eyes in hatred before looking away from the deity. Return? Why would I want to return, said Grimmjow. Only to find himself staring at one of the secret shrines at the Hyuga compound, where members of the clan go to mourn those they love, whether they be friend, family, and/or lover lost due to tragic circumstances. In front of this particular shrine was a woman with long dark cascading hair, wearing a bulky jacket and pants of light purple color. The woman's back was to him with her head down, but in doing so, it allowed the Espada's eyes to widen at the side of the picture and then look at the woman praying. Naruto-kun, I miss you so much. Every day I pray you are happy. That you are in heaven with your family. Knowing that despite everything this village has done to you, the life on the other side hasn't been cruel and can be at peace, knowing no one can cause you any more harm. I only wish that I had been able to visit you those 3 years ago, if only for a second, to tell you how I felt. How despite everyone hating you for the Kyuubi, I wasn't like them, and how I loved you. I still do love you. No matter what went wrong, you overcame the odds and beat everyone at their own game. Uchiha Sasuke is still trying to find a way to get the next level of the Sharingan in order to beat his brother and curses you to this day in denying him. My father is forcing me in a double marriage to Kiba and Sasuke and preparing a seal for them to use to make me obey, but I told him there is only one man I wish to marry, to have children, to grow old with, and that person is dead. He wasn't amused, and something tells me my father is going through with this marriage. I don't know how long it will be before I can see you again, Naruto-kun, but I can wait, and when the time comes to join you on the other side, I will finally tell you how I feel. Believe it, said Hinata as she finished her prayer and quickly put the picture of the boy away, knowing that no one could see it since no one in the village was left that loved Naruto anymore. You were not meant to die that day. A mistake on my part, which is why I am giving you this chance to regain some of what was taken from your life and a chance to fix your broken world, said Kami, seeing Grimmjow stare at Hinata's form, walking away and hiding the picture inside the bulky jacket. Fine, but what happens to me? Said Grimmjow, seeing Kami smiling at him. You will be alive. Your original body has long since been lost, so you must remain in your Ranker body. However, you will be alive again, said Kami, seeing the Espada put his hand to where his heart would be if it wasn't for the hole there that signified he was a hollow. Send me back, do know that I will kill all those bastards in very painful ways. Said Grimmjow, seeing Kami nod. Give them hell, Grimmjow, said Kami, seeing the Espada nod his head and sadistic smile slowly grow on his face as he fully comprehended the gift being awarded to him. Suddenly he was consumed in a bright light, and the next thing the Espada knew was back in the elemental countries. Just for fun he aimed at a nearby tree and utterly obliterated it in the area around it with a low-level zero. Konoha, get ready because the king is back, hahaha. Chapter 2. The king gets drunk. Need more reviews? Come on, at least 10 or 20, although I love the fact that so many people put my story on their alert fav story, but review. The king gets drunk. Currently in the forest of death. Grimmjow was relaxing on the cool freshly dead grass. This place isn't so bad, the trees are big and vicious, the cruel possibly mutated plants and animals acknowledged him as the one and only king. The incredibly stupid ones that didn't well made good targets. After he destroys Konoha he will leave this place and take a vacation here, but now where to go first? Suna is where Gaara is, so he will visit it, but not now. He wants Konoha to cower in fear at his very name before dealing the final blow, so he can't blow it up yet. Suddenly he snapped his fingers. Of course. Wave Country. He was actually loved and became a hero there. At ready Wave Country, cause here comes the king, Grimmjow remarked before getting up. And remember. If anyone here tells any ninja even a hint about me being here, then I will have to destroy this place. He roared, causing nearby animals and plants to flinch at his voice. It was understood that ninjas like Anko and the Aburam clan were not to be told about Grimmjow, and if they were told and Grimmjow found out, well, it's best not to think about it. Sunito. He exclaimed before vanishing instantly. If any of the smarter animals there were capable of human speech, they would say damn. Wave Country. A few hours later, the Black Pearl pub. Ha 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 ha, and then I blew his brain out. Finished Grimmjow as he just finished his story to the group around him. Wow, Grimmjow, that is awesome, exclaimed a random person. Yeah, hey Vinny, you said you can make songs anywhere anytime, right? Then make a song about Grimmjow here. Said another nameless dude. Oh okay then, said the newly named Vinny, taking out his guitar, and after a glance at Grimmjow starts. Beginning. Chorus for the tune, go to YouTube, then watch Naruto Ultimate Ninja Impact Demo Gamma Play. Part tune is at the beginning. PS tell me its name if you can, or just hum the rest. The king is back. He comes to slay. Fear his wrath. Pause, he's come to play. Verse 1. Beware those whose hearts are of sand. Beware those his pain they had a hand. Pause, the king is back. With all his hate. His enemies. Have sealed their fate. Chorus. The king is back. He comes to slay. Fear his wrath. Pause, he's come to play. End. After hearing the song, Grimmjow and the rest of the group looked at each other. Then. The king is back. He comes to slay. Fear his wrath. Pause, he's come to play. They sung it. Then they praised Vinny for the song. Then they got seriously drunk, more drunk than 500 sailors, with an infinite supply of beer that they had to finish in 3 days, but won't die from it. 5 hours later, in front of the Great Naruto Bridge. That Vevi is great singer, remarked a very drunk Grimmjow. The KK King I is Bach. He tried to sing remember how drunk he is, imagine the hangover he will get before falling in front of the Great Naruto Bridge. Wow, you are seriously drunk, aren't you, said gray-haired bespectacled man with a mustache as he walked in front of Grimmjow. Yeah, I know how you feel, he remarked with a grin before he gave a hand to Grimmjow. Thanks, Grimmjow managed to reply. Azuna's house sometime later. So why are you here? Asked Azuna. Grimmjow is currently having supper with Tazuna, and his Tazuna gave him a hand. He allowed Grimmjow to stay the night with him and his family. Revenge, Grimmjow said, causing the family to sweat drop at this. Okay, on who your daughter who won't let you drink Tazuna before being smacked on his head by his annoyed daughter. I want revenge in Konoha. As soon as he said Konoha, it became so quiet that you could hear a beetle scuttling in Kiri. Konoha, those bastards that killed Naruto, the killing intent coming off the family would be enough to kill Kakashi, and even Tsunade herself. Regardless, Grimmjow wasn't affected. Yep, those bastards are gonna die by the hands of the king, said Grimmjow, while pointing to himself. At that moment, door opened and a girl entered inside. Good evening, didn't tell me have a visitor. Grimmjow's eyes widened. A.m. A week later, Konoha. Hinata was miserable, but that is nothing compared to her hatred to her home. After Naruto's death, his so-called friends wanted to kill him personally, and after what happened to Iruka AM and her father, well, she wishes that she was the Kyuubi so she could destroy them. The only solace in the poor girl's heart was that when she dies, she would be with Naruto. Well, that and what happened a month after Naruto's death. A month after Naruto's death. What is the meaning of this, roared the fire daimyo as he entered the room accompanied by his bodyguards, causing the Hokage, the councils, and the clan heads to bow in front of him. Great daimyo-sama. If you don't mind me asking, why are you here? Said Danzo. Why am I here in Konoha where an innocent ninja has been killed for doing his duty? Who are you talking about, daimyo-sama? I don't think we have such a ninja, sir, replied Saraku Haruno, Sakura's mother. Oh really? Does the name Uzumaki Naruto ring a bell? Instantly they started. That demon. I'm sorry, daimyo-sama, but you have been misinformed, replied Saraku Haruno. It's a good thing the Kyuubi brat is finally dead, said a civilian councilman. Yes, now Kami will bless us for removing the demon, said another. You're right. Said a civilian councilman. That damn. Silence, shouted the daimyo. Because of your stupidity, the wind daimyo, my old friend, came to me and told me how pissed off he was, so did the wave and spring daimyo, and I don't blame them. Yelled the fire daimyo. Fire daimyo-sama, began Tsunade, and that's as far as she got. Enough. I found out about the mission, what happened before and after it from anonymous source, and what I have seen sickens me. Naruto harmed the last Uchiha unnecessary and could have killed him," said Tsunade while the fire daimyo became angrier, which shouldn't be possible. "Really? Well, I remember that the mission stated that Naruto could use excessive force if Sasuke resisted, and from both their injuries, I think I can say he resisted," said the fire daimyo while glaring at the entire room. "It's not like we can bring Naruto from the dead," said Tsunade, seeing the man turn his attention directly to her. "Indeed, that's why I am going to reveal Naruto's heritage and the truth of the Uchiha massacre," said the fire daimyo, seeing the Hokage, the councils, and all the clan heads go pale in the face. "You can't be serious, daimyo-sama," said Homura in protest to the feudal lord himself. "I am," said the fire daimyo. These two words put more fear in those people than anything else. Weren't scared of the people of Konoha, no, they would get over it in like 5 minutes. They were scared of the people outside Konoha. The clients, the other great ninja villages. What will they think? What will they do? They were right after this when everybody was told about those two secrets. Suna became neutral spring and Wave Country became hostile. Konoha got less than half its usual number of clients, and to make it worse, the fire daimyo cut their budget to 40%. Even now they were just barely making it on the line and were on the verge of bankruptcy. Since then everyone practically cursed Naruto name and people stare with hatred at Hinata Konoha Maramogi as the last demon lovers and such. Yes, Hinata mused to herself in her room. It's not safe here, we have to leave, but when? Reaching her shrine for Naruto, Hinata frowned at the sight of a note there and saw it was addressed to her to read. Thinking it was some kind of trick from a villager, but realizing they would rather burn her shrine down, she proceeded to open it before reading its contents. Then proceeded to drop the note with a gasp escaping her mouth at the single sentence written on it. "Thank you for praying for me, Hinata-chan." Naruto-kun, thought Hinata as she quickly picked up the note again and using her eyes, saw it was his handwriting without any signs of the writing being a forgery. "Yes, now I must leave in order to see Naruto-kun again. They say hell has no fury like a woman scorned. Let's hope someone is that stupid. Amik. Yes, now I must." Hinata said, Hiashi running at her. "How dare you love that demon, I will burn down that shrine," he said, still running at her. "What did you say?" said Hinata with blazing fire coming out her eyes while raising her fist. "Oh damn it," screamed Hiashi only to realize he is still running at her. "I am sorry. You were my favorite, don't hurt me, arg. A random family in Suna. Daddy, do shooting stars happen only at night?" said a little boy. "Of course, dear," replied his parents. "Then what about that?" Anna said, pointing at the sky. His parents looked up and saw a shooting star in the clear blue sky. To this day Nara scientists are still baffled by the shooting star, and they realize there is only one possible this could happen. It had something to do with a woman. Until they got beaten up by a gang of their wives using frying pans while calling them sexist. Ouch. Chapter 3. King goes to Suna. Woohoo. I have over 20 is for the inspiration Snake. I prefer Monster by Skillet, but your video gave me some the way there will be swearing, so be right, story time. Are you sure we can't talk you into staying? Said Tazuna with the rest of his family including AM seeing Grimmjow off from Wave. Yen Ai-san, do you have to go? Said Inari. It took a while, but finally Grimmjow convinced them that he was Naruto. That was a very interesting conversation. Flashback to Zuna's house. AM? Yes, I am. But who are you? I have never met you before. Replied AM. It's me, Naru. Before he could continue, he was smacked down by a frying pan courtesy of Tsunami. How dare you, said Tsunami, coming to smack him again, but her weapon was caught in midair by Grimmjow. Why did you do that? Yelled Grimmjow, pissed off until he gets hit by another frying pan, this time by AM. How dare you? Shouted AM in tears. Oh come on, screamed Grimmjow, now truly pissed off. Now let me expel. Whack. At my readers was the sound of 2 frying pans hitting in a ranker's head. Why? Some time later in flashback. Grimmjow Naruto died and his body was burned. Said Tazuna, trying to break the tension. Yeah, and I got a Chidori to the chest at my execution. Replied, showed them the hole in his chest which up to now hadn't been noticed. How are you still alive? Screamed Tsunami. Inari was shocked and even AM had a dumbfounded look on his face. As for Tazuna, well, this is what he thinks. Must be a ninja thing. Thank you, Tazuna. After a while Grimmjow convinces them that he is Naruto by talking about what happened in the Wave mission and also about some of his pranks as a kid which AM knew about, including the secret ones like changing Sasuke's hair pink. Then flashback. Naruto said, AM putting her hand on Grimmjow's shoulder. Call me Grimmjow. I am the king now. Replied Grimmjow. I would still call you Naruto as you still are that little boy who put crabs down Hiashi's pants, joked AM, causing the others to chuckle a bit. I want you to know how bad it is in Konoha, she said, making Grimmjow look at her. After you died Iruka and my father went to confront Tsunade about killing. They still cared for you and Iruka was sent on a mission so he didn't know about your execution until it was too late. Iruka so he did care said Grimmjow sadly. Tears started falling down Am's face, but she bravely continued they were executed for treason and your so-called friends insulted them told them to join the other demon lovers in hell. It was horrible. She fought back her tears and ultimately won. Naruto please listen. Hinata, Konohamaru Mogi and Yuden are the only ones left that truly cared for you. You must bring them back. Away from Konoha. Finished Am. I will and try not to worry remember when I told you about Soul Society, I bet Iruka and your father are Therisade Grimmjow, who is ready to break some bones right now. Okay but when you bring Hinata back make sure you two don't break the bed joked. The hexclaimed Grimmjow who was turning by the way an unnatural shade of pink before disappearing instantly. Good old Naruto chuckled even when you have become the king you're still the same number one unpredictable knuckle-headed ninja. Hokage's office Konoha. So we are going to save the Kazekage questioned Kakashi Jounin of Team 7. Yes replied Tsunade ever since the brat died Konoha has been allied to no one in these recent years but fortunately saving their Kazekage will put us in Suna's good graces which will help us get more clients and our reputation back. Understood after all only an Uchiha elite such as myself can save a cage from Akatsuki said Sasuke Uchiha. Yes Sasuke only you can do it exclaimed Sakura nodding her head vigorously. Yes Hokage remarked Sai. But you have got your mission now go said Tsunade. Outside Konoha. Sasuke Sakura, I want to ask a question asked Sai as they were leaving the forest outside Konoha he was told to be respectful to the Uchiha and his obsessed fangirl, and I mean obsessed. HN said the ever helpful Uchiha. Okay sir replied the fangirl Haruno Sakura. It's about your former teammate Naru started Sai. Naruto. That baka. He was always worrying me that idiot and he got into Sasuke's way, he was good for nothing but trouble said Sakura who always hated Naruto with all her heart. He got in the way of Sasuke devoting his love to her. You're right. He was nothing more than a fool who thought he could become Hokage. Remarked Sasuke. But isn't he a demon asked Sai. Yes my mother always warned me that he was a demon and she was right said Sakura firmly. She was about to continue but she heard chuckling from Sasuke. Ha 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 Naruto a demon that's ridiculous. The dope is just a loser. Every single time he was able to beat me was due to the Kyuubi's power. Naruto is no demon he is just a dope, a dead last. Hahaha. Cha. Sasuke you are right. You are always right cha. Said the lovesick Sakura. Now. At hearing his voice the Chuninins turned behind them to see Kakashi standing behind them still holding his book. Naruto was the Kyuubi reborn. And there is no doubt that with his death we are all safer. Scolded Kakashi to his two Chuninins and the great Uchiha. Suddenly he felt a chill. A bone-crushing miniming chill that started from the base of his spine to the very top. He knew that something bad would happen and it would involve Naruto, but Naruto is dead isn't he? Shaking aside his thoughts Kakashi started racing to reach Suna but he couldn't shake that feeling of a vengeful Naruto. Currently in Suna. Grimmjow sneezed. Someone must be talking about me. He remarked. He was in an area hidden in an oasis in Suna's desert. It was a desolate place that made the forest of death look like a paradise for the family. Even the plants that grew here were 6 feet under the sand, so all in all it looked like a good place for practice. Now where is Suna Grimmjow remarked. Suna Kazukiyage's office. Konoha shinobi so what does Suna owe this displeasure? Said Baki who was trying to be polite and not kill Team 7. Ara told him about the fight between him and Naruto. With the sand shinobi gaining a newfound respect for the blonde Jinchuriki and so was shocked when he heard of Konoha's actions but in recent years with Konoha on its decline, Suna became much stronger and is much more powerful even though Konoha had more skilled shinobi. Your Kazekage has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki. So obviously you need the skills of an Uchiha elite such as myself since all your shinobi are weak compared to an Uchiha. Said Sasuke arrogantly, provoking a scowl from Baki, Temari and Kankuro who was present. That sums it up. Said Kakashi with his eye smile, of course saving your Kazekage will require a price. The tension in the room was rapidly rising and Temari was about to retort. Boom. The doors to the Kazekage's office was blasted aside with 2 Suna shinobi flying through. Boom. Causing 2 craters in the wall behind Temari with the 2 shinobi inside them. After staring at the 2 unconscious shinobi the sand and leaf shinobi observed a person in front of the blasted doors. The person had light blue spiky hair and eyes with green lines below them. He was wearing a white hakama and a black/ragged jacket with an upturned collar with rolled up sleeves. Side jacket was open showing his muscular chest with a large scar on his torso, but the strange thing about this person was at his right side of his face from cheek to chin was a right jawbone mask and there was a FRGING hole in his chest. Finally this stranger was showing a bloodthirsty grin of a predator that screamed fuck with me and die. Chapter 5. The King's Brawl. I'm back. Sorry for the last chapter. I hope you guys don't mind, but updates will be random from now on, since my internet is acting funny. I hope you will enjoy. Also remember I am going to start swearing. After the end of this chapter 1 hope you tell me which one you like, swearing or no swearing. Where is Gaara, roared Grimmjow. Tell him the king is here to play. Grimmjow then saw Team 7. Sakura, Sasuke and Kakashi. What a surprise. Snarled Grimmjow. Grimmjow was really pissed. Two sand shinobi tried to take away his Zanpakuto, and when he told them not to touch it, they actually called him a fag. He got his revenge throwing them through the door, but before his little build-up of rage can abate, he saw his former so-called teammates. As pleasing as it would be to kill those traitors Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi, it won't be much fun. Well, if he can't kill them, he can at least make them piss their pants. Excuse me, who are Kakashi calmly stated until he felt an intense pressure that forced him to his knees. Having to struggle to just breathe, Kakashi used an inhuman amount of effort to turn his head, albeit briefly, to check on his Sasuke. The other Konoha-nin and the Sunin-nin were as close to the ground as Kakashi, while Sakura, she was French kissing it. Listen you little Shithid's girl, Grimmjow, I did say there will be swearing. I don't like Konoha shinobi, and I fucking hate you three. If you little pieces of shit try to act superior around me, I'll send your fucking heads to oblivion. Got it? Then the pressure was suddenly released, allowing everybody else to move again. Now Grimmjow calmly stated, where is Gaara? He has been captured by the Akatsuki. Tamari replied. Gaara is our Kazukiage, so we need to retrieve him from them. If you can aid us in this, only for Grimmjow to raise his hand, cutting her off. Say no more. Now let me go and say hi to my old friend, replied Grimmjow, then turned on Sakura. When she looked at his face she flinched in fear. Hatred, disgust and loathing were the only emotions in his eyes. He raised up his hand and pointed his finger at her. He said one sentence before vanishing. Woman, why do you smell like piss? He said before vanishing instantly. At this remark everyone ignored the fact that Grimmjow disappeared and were staring at Sakura, who didn't notice them. How dare that freak say that to me? I beat the crap out of him and then Sasuke will adore me for it and he will marry me and we will live happily ever after. Cha, she thought furiously in her head. Only then did she notice that everyone was looking at her. What? She questioned, seeing where everybody was looking. She looked down at her. Was a very noticeable stain on her. This stain was so noticeable aliens could see it. Heck, even if I told that right now aliens are having a conference to talk about the stain and what it implies, you will believe me when you see the mother of all piss related. Oh. Akatsuki hideout. Deidara is bored. The only good thing so far was when he fought the Shukaku's container, but that was it. After that all he had left to do is to wait here until they are done extracting the beast. Why couldn't he be lucky like Kiss him? Sure, he used only 30% of his charka in the clone, but at least he got a fight out of it with those Konoha shinobi. How else is an artist supposed to show his work without inspiration? Do you hear that drone, Zetsu? The other members of Akatsuki looked at him, but before any member could respond. Crack. That, my readers, was the sound of the boulder with seals in front of the Akatsuki Hideout, that one being destroyed by a karate chop. Real cliché. Of course the Akatsuki only saw their boulder being spilt in half and saw Grimmjow appear through the spilt, which to them is very cool. Go figure. What does that even mean? I scaring myself now. Who the hell are you? Shouted Hayden. The name's Grimmjow, Jack is. Grimmjow dryly remarked. Who fucking cares, you bastard, snarled Hayden, while the leader of Akatsuki Pain stared at Grimmjow, sizing him up. Sasori, Deidara, finish him and then we will proceed to the extraction of the Jinchuriki. But that the shadowy apparitions of the Akatsuki members left, leaving Sasori and Deidara with the newcomer. This gonna be fun. Cackled Deidara. Focus, Deidara, commented Sasori. Sasori, my man, you're just jealous that I am about to show true art, remarked Deidara. Yeah right, said he, lashed out with his tail, the tip aimed at Grimmjow's heart. Only for Grimmjow to catch it a mere inch from his heart. Well then let's have a good clean slaughter. He grinned, giving the duo a smile. They were startled when he just vanished. Seems this fight has gotten more interesting, remarked Sasori as retracted his tail. Before Deidara could respond he felt a fist connect to his stomach. Doubling over he then felt a kick, this time on his gut, forcing him to vomit. That almost got on me, commented the Arankar as he appeared, but he started feeling a barely noticeable thump on his back. Looking back he noticed Sasori shooting needles from his mouth at his back. Nice try, said Grimmjow before disappearing and reappearing behind Sasori. Now I'm gonna punch you full of holes, and did just that. By the time he was done Sasori's body was a mess, but oddly enough. I thought there at least be some blood, commented Grimmjow. Oh well. Grimmjow raised his hand and said one word that instilled a great amount of fear into 2S rank shinobi. Zero. The red ball of energy grew on his fingers and the ball turned into a powerful beam of red concentrated energy aimed at the 2S class ninja. They barely escaped with substitution jutsus, but Sasori lost his puppet armor and his hidden puppet the third Kazekage, forcing him to show his true puppet form. Damn it, cursed Sasori. Grimmjow aimed another Zero at Deidara, who was trying to get high enough that he could throw his bombs from a safe distance. Deidara dodged it only to notice that Grimmjow was flying at him. "Oh shit," those were the last words he said before Grimmjow attacked his clay bird. With Grimmjow's enhanced strength he tore through the clay easily with one punch and caused an explosion killing Deidara but leaving Grimmjow unscathed. "What do we do now, Kakashi-sensei?" asked Team 7 plus. A certain old lady had just recently arrived coming through the big hole where the boulder used to be and walked the fight from the beginning up to now. "That person from before is fighting 2S class ninja and he's not even hurt. Look at him. He's barely breaking a sweat," observed Kakashi. "That is impressive," admitted Sai. "Indeed," agreed Lady Chiyo. "Ah. Sasuke can do that, he can beat all those creeps, right Sasuke?" said Sakura. "They are nothing compared to a true Uchiha such as myself," replied Sasuke arrogantly. Now Kakashi is a Sasuke fan, has most of the Sasuke merchandise except the ones involving nudity for him. Nothing is better for him than kissing Sasuke's ass well, except Icha. But to his credit, he is an experienced and pretty good ninja, and so he knows fighting 2S class is the practically suicide. The Uchiha may be great in Kakashi's eyes, but he is not that great yet. Sasuke, be reasonable, beating 2S class ninja is no small feat and this person can do just that. We should wait and watch what happens," advised Kakashi. "You guys are pissing me off." Hearing his voice, Team 7 turned and saw a chilling sight. Grimmjow was in the middle of the room, Gaara's body beside were pieces of wooden limbs, Sasori's true body laying entangled on the floor. Clutched in Grimmjow's right hand was the head of the Sasori of the red sand, his face stuck on an expression of disbelief and fear, and his other hand was the Sasori's wooden heart. Crushing the two body parts in his hands with ridiculous ease. Grimmjow faced the face between a snarl and a grin. Ignoring the scene before him, the so-called Avenger decides to intimidate him. "Hey you. I should thank you for doing my job, but if you value your life you will give the Kazekage or you will face the wrath of an Uchiha," threatened Sasuke. If somebody else said it would be kind of a warning, but when Sasuke said it sounded like really arrogant jackass wanted your money, your girlfriend, car and your TV. Wow, you're dumber than I remember, Sasuke. Has Sakura stolen your virginity yet, or have you given to Kakashi instead, since I know you would like that? Now at the stealing Sasuke part, Sakura fainted with a massive nosebleed, but at the Kakashi part, she stood up with pissed off look in her eyes, and at the final part, righteous fire exploded from her eyes. Now witness the true awesome power of a fangirl. Ah. Sakura, eyes now burning with righteous, charged at Grimmjow to crush the one who dares to say her Sasuke is a homo. And then she punched him. And the cave shook, the 5 great shinobi villages felt the aftermath. The explosion of dust created covered an entire kilometer round the cave. Was just lucky that nobody got dirty. Coughing from the smoke, Lady Chiyo, Kakashi, Sasuke and Sai stumbled out, rubbing their watery eyes. They took a glance at where Sakura and Grimmjow were and could not contain their astonishment as their mouths dropped open. The true awesome power of the fangirl can destroy mountains, break the most strong-willed shinobi, reduce a cage to tears, and it even puts the Sunset Justu by Lee and Guy to shame with its untapped potential. But against an Espada. It's worth shit. That's it. And to think I once had a crush on you, mused Grimmjow. Now this is a pretty obvious fact that it's Naruto, but in Sakura's deluded mind, men want her as much as females want Sasuke, and some men too. But how Sakura managed to stutter out. "Well, I don't know, maybe because you are weak, pathetic, to be honest, I should have killed you when you pissed yourself," remarked Grimmjow. Deciding it was time to end this, he then brought his spirit energy to life, surrounding him as a blue aura, this deadly power gathering around him. He looked like a sadistic embodiment of death. A warrior whose purpose was to destroy those who came in his way with his dark vast un. "Stop!" shouted Lady Chiyo. All man, I was getting to the good part with a surprising strong voice. She was holding Gaara's head on the lap. "There is no time for this, Gaara needs help," said Lady Chiyo. "It's my fault that Gaara's life became this, but I don't have the speed I used to, so you must help me." She passes Gaara's body to Grimmjow, who takes it and vanishes without a trace. "It's odd that Shukaku didn't try to possess Gaara," muttered Lady Chiyo. "It's almost as if it's afraid of something else." She stared at the space where Grimmjow used to be, obviously in thought. "How could you trust the Kazukiya's life to that thing?" Fumed Sakura. Lady Chiyo gave her a long searching look. "'Cause that thing didn't piss itself," remarked Lady Chiyo. Sakura looked away embarrassed. Back at Suna a few minutes later. "Thank it wasn't for you, Gaara could have been killed. Suna is in your debt," said Tamari, overjoyed that her brother is safe and sound back in Suna. Don't mention it. I would do it again for one of my true friends, replied Grimmjow. They were currently in front of the Kazakija's private. They talked to each other. A nurse came from the private quarters and motioned them inside before leaving the room. Gara was pretty much healed with all his bandages removed and his wounds gone. He raised his head when the door acknowledged Tamari with a nod but looked confused when he saw Grimmjow. Who is that? Asked Gara. After hearing this, Tamari grabbed her fan and put herself in front of her brother and the blue-haired ranker, holding her weapon protectively over Gara. She then threatened Grimmjow. Who are you then, an assassin? The friend, Grimmjow insisted. The friend of who though? Gara said. He tried to get up but Tamari stopped him. And to think I summoned Gambanta to fight you and gave you headbutt, but then you deserved it. Gara's eyes widened. Only two people know about that, Gambanta and Shukaku don't count and one of them should be dead. Naruto, he said softly. No, I am no more Naruto, I am now the king. Replied Grimmjow. The king? Asked Gara. Dost call me Grimmjow, said Grimmjow, but I got to ask, why do you still have that alliance with Konoha? Growled Grimmjow, hating the very thought of Konoha. I just don't get it, why are you still with those bastards? To his surprise, Gara actually chuckled. It's true, we don't need it and we won't help them in a war. Konoha has become very weak economically. You could steal all their money just by hiring a lawyer these days, but my council won't let me since they fear Konoha ever since the failed invasion. The lawyer? Asked Grimmjow, who was confused. Gara smiled. It seems that many people don't like what happened to you, T-Wave Spring Country. Even the Fire Daimyo is against them for what they did to you, my friend. Well then, time for me to put them out of their misery. Grimmjow is in a good mood. The people of Konoha are suffering for what they did to him. Who better to finish than good old Naruto Aka the king? Just let me talk to the council and I will sort them out for you. Grimmjow was about to leave but was called back by Gara. I need you to do a favor to me. Gara said. What is it? Grimmjow asked, confused. I need you to find a girl called Fu. Chapter 6. Amak, rewritten by the way. I am back. Amak. Naruto, son of Artemis, you dare. Nobody is more badass than me. Can you blow up your car with just a balloon? No. Can you go to your grandparents and say you are a son of a bitch? No. Can you wake up each day with a different girl in your bed? No. Well, neither can I. But I have changed the Amak. Thanks for the review. What? She questioned, seeing where everybody was looking. She looked down at her pants. There was a very noticeable stain on her pants. In a galaxy far, far away. In Coruscant, the GD High Council were having a meeting about the next strategy to use in the war against the Confederacy of Independent Systems, CIS. Mace Windu was currently speaking. So far the CIS have failed in their invasion here in Coruscant, so we shall take the initiative and attack while they are recovering. I say we counter-strike at. As he took a breath, a GD Knight came rushing into the room. GD Council. We have an emergency. He screamed. He brought with him a holo slate and showed it to the GD Master. Mace took it and his eyes widened in disbelief. GD High Council. Look at this. He said, then put the data slate on a holo projector, showing the image to the rest of the GD. Their mouths fell down in shock. What is it? GD Elder CC Tien exclaimed. Disturbing this is. Said Yoda. It seems to be a stain of some sort on some kind of pants, mused Pokun. According to these readings, the liquid shown is urine from a human life form. Explained a nearby droid who was there to record the meeting. Sorry I'm late, I had save Anakin, oh good lord. Yelled Obi-Wan with Anakin behind him. What the hell is that? Urine it seems to be. Disgusting is it not? Replied Yoda. What the fuck is that? Anakin exploded, slamming his fist into the wall behind him. Turning, he faced the council. How dare someone do this shit to themselves? That's disgusting. We are the GD. We are peacekeepers, the defenders of those people in that world. Show us this. This is some messed up shit. Anakin, calm down, advised Obi-Wan. Scans indicate that the stain was found in Sector Vi in a world called Earth. The droid mentioned helpfully. I say we conquer that shitty excuse for a planet and show who they're dealing with. Raged Anakin. Yeah, let's fuck them up, agreed Mace Windu. Fuck them up. Chanted Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Jen Kohler and the other members of the GD High Council. This is bad. Okay, I know how to fix this. I can't let them blow up the Earth. Now let me think. First I have to save Obi-Wan, Yoda and Anakin. I got it. Anakin and the two GD Masters felt the tug of an unknown force. Before they could do anything though, the force. It increased in power. With the fury of a gale it threw them through the door, knocking them unconscious. The door closed with a mighty bang. The rest of the council then noticed a cowled being stood in front of them. His dark cloak covered anything visible except his face. His face was cold, yet unnaturally handsome with an air of nobility. The dark side was unnaturally strong in this one. His cruel, merciless grey eyes took them all in. He smiled at them as a demon would smile at its prey. Who are you? Asked Kit Fisto. Who am I? I am the conqueror of nations, the destroyer of galaxies, the slayer of heroes, the lord of darkness eternal. I am BLADESTARF60 Blazer, or call me Blazestar. You little pieces of shit. He replied in a deep, cold but cool voice. Now for not knowing my name I will kill each of you in a horrible, horrible way. He threatened them. They laughed at him. They laughed long and hard, but Blazestar waited and bided his time. What makes you think you can beat us? Some of the most powerful GD stand before you, demanded Mace Windu. Blazestar grinned at him. He was hoping someone would say that. He raised his hand and from the shadows a cage appeared. It was made of aged bones and was massive. Darkness the only thing that could be seen in it. I didn't say I am going to beat you. I said I am going to kill you. But why should I do the dirty work when I have my pets? Blazestar replied. He snapped his fingers and the cage moved closer to the GD Masters. Do you know what this is? He asked. This cage of darkness was created to contain the most fearsome nightmares known to man. This is held together by the bones of the victims of the beast sealed within it. I am sure you remember this particular victim. But the iron wrought gates of the cage opened, yet they showed no glimpse into the impenetrable darkness. Do you know what this is? He asked. This cage of darkness was created to contain the most fearsome nightmares known to man. This is held together by the bones of the victims of the beast sealed within it. I am sure you remember this particular victim. But the iron wrought gates of the cage opened, yet they showed no glimpse into the impenetrable darkness. What the hell? Roared Blazestar. Instead of his pets another stood in their place. A Gungan by the name of Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar. How did you survive? Demanded Mace Windu. Bossip Mesa found these guys in there, then Mesa. Jar Jar explained before he was pushed to the side by a frantic Blazestar. What about my pets? The Kraken, the Leviathan, the pizza guy. He still owes me $50. Raged Blazestar. Oh Yosemite, those guys. Mesa tried to show them how to play checkers, but Thesa blew up. Explained Jar Jar showing the checker pieces. Only they weren't checker pieces, they were Aquila class G13 grenades, the most powerful grenades known to man. How did Jar Jar survive is anyone's guess. He tripped and avoided the blast. The pets' bodies disintegrated upon impact. It was ugly. At this point Blazestar was trying to contain his unnatural wrath. It was like a maelstrom. Fierce and uncontrolled, yet he could have controlled it. Until Jar Jar said one thing, just one sentence. Yasa shoulda tried the pizza. Yum yum. Exclaimed Jar Jar, failing to notice Blazestar's eye twitch. Oh shit. But the speed of a cheetah. Blazestar gripped Jar Jar's shoulders. You mean the meat special? With bacon beef cheese KFC rolled into one with a free drink, he screamed at Jar Jar, who nodded his head. That was the only one that was ever made. I had to sell my sister to the glue factory to get it. Exploded Blazestar. You sold your own sister to the glue factory? Questioned Plo Koon. Dude, that's cold, said Kit Fisto. The chances of her surviving the glue factory are so sad that I'm not gonna bother calculating them. Mentioned the droid. Don't forget everyone else is still there. Blazestar snapped. Using the force he hurled Jar Jar to wall multiple times, causing a crater to appear. Then he dropped him to the floor and force pushed him to another wall. Then he used force pull to bring Jar Jar to him, electrocuted him with force lighting, kicked him in the nuts and threw him out the window. Ouch. Now, for the rest of you. Blazestar coldly remarked to the council members. Be your worst. Challenged Mace Windu. Blazestar's hand reached for his pocket and the council members tensed. He took from his pocket a paper. Dropping it for the wind, he vanished. As soon as he vanished, the paper enlarged itself, turning into a hologram of Sakura attempting a sexy pose. Now here's the problem. She did well wearing armor. The response was instantaneous. Arg. My eyes. It burns. Is that a woman? Does not compute. Does no compute. Oh shit. It's moving. Mommy. And lots more screams followed until every single person in that room did the only wise thing to do. They took their lightsabers and killed themselves. Those who didn't do it in time died by their heads exploding from the horror or from vomiting their guts out. This is my version of happy ending. The end. Chapter 7. The King and Taki. I am back. For how long I don't know. With exams around the corner and me not giving a shit about it, it's been hard for me to gain any ideas for a new chapter. But thanks to all the keep writing letters you all sent to me but I never received, I have gained new inspiration, a new writing style, maybe, a new way to change the TV without getting up, and most importantly, a new reason to live. Now gone is the frequent suicidal periods, aka watching Barney with the family. Instead I deal with it the way I deal with all my problems. Yes, you guessed it. A healthy combination of Coca-Cola and a dose of crystal meth. Someone's talking. Someone's thinking. It is me talking. Hakageru. In the inner city of no wait, this is wrong, let me start again. Stop looking at this. I said stop. Shit, they are still looking. Testicles. Konoha. Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves. One of the 5 great shinobi villages, it once held the title as the first and the most powerful ninja village in existence, dominating the battlefield with shinobi with unsurpassed power like Madara Uchiha, the wielder of the infamous Eternal Mangekyo, and Hashirama Senju, wielder of unparalleled wood release. It was the home of legendary warriors with unimaginable skill, some of the greatest ones known to all, such as Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, the man who copied over 1,000 jutsu copy ninja Kakashi Haddock, and even Hiruzen Sarutobi, known to all as the god of shinobi. But now to call it a shadow of its former self is to compare a fully grown lion, tall, fierce and proud, to that crazy one-eyed bitch down the street. The atmosphere in Konoha was the same as a wounded animal. Still snarling, still proud, still fighting, but doing nothing more than prolonging its own destruction. Hokage's office. Let me get this straight. Tsunade calmly stated, putting her hands on her desk. She slowly raised her head and stared emotionlessly at the jounin in front of her. You were going to save the Kazekage. A mission that would benefit Konoha greatly, as Suna would be in our debt, but he was already saved when you got there by a blue-haired man with a jawbone on his face and a hole in his chest. After he managed to kill 2 S-class Akatsuki members without a single scratch, he then faced Sakura's punch without any injuries whatsoever. That's right, replied Kakashi lightly. He then jumped out of the way to avoid the desk that was thrown at him. And you are telling me that Suna has broken their alliance with us thanks to this blue-haired freak? Shouted Tsunade, using her speed to go in front of Kakashi, punched him in the head with enough force to shatter his skull, or would have if he didn't perform a replacement jutsu in time. Get out of my sight. She screamed, an order which Kakashi eagerly followed. The 5th Hokage shook her head. Kakashi was a splendid shinobi, but he had his head stuck up the Uchiha's arse. By choice. Tsunade herself didn't care much about the Uchiha, but as long as Konoha had the Sharingan it was worth it, as long as the fool didn't become Hokage. She would never allow that atrocity to occur. Yeah, I use big word. She smirked as an evil idea came to her. All she had to do was give the Uchiha the power to kill his brother and strong Kunoichi like Sakura, Ino, Tenten and Hinata. Hinata might be a problem, but nothing a little curse seal won't fix. After they get impregnated and the children born, she can arrange for Sasuke to have an accident. After all, as long as Konoha has the Sharingan and the Byakugan, everything will work out. Tsunade chuckled quietly to herself. Things were looking good. She avenged the death of Kushina, who she loved like a daughter, even though Konoha suffered as a result. Konoha may be weak now, but Tsunade was unconcerned. Unless someone had enough power to rival each of the Kage combined. On the way to Takageru. Achoo. Sneezed Grimmjow. Back in Konoha. Or the power to rival Kami himself. On the way to McDonald's. Achoo. Sneezed Blazestar. Back in Konoha, Jiraiya. Then she cannot be stopped. Sighing with joy, she relaxed on her chair and took a bottle of sake. Taking a sip from the strong brew, she decided to have some fun and imagine her favorite dream. A chibi version of herself as ruler of all shinobi while repeatedly kicking Jiraiya in the balls. It was a good dream. Takigakure. The city of Takigakure isn't known for many things, but it is known for its beauty, specifically its waterfall. A dazzling spectacle that radiates crystal cold, soothing water that is well revered for its purity. It is said that the tiniest drop can soothe even the hearts of the most hardened criminal. It is also said that to take a dip in the pool formed can cause even the most insane to relax and think of how great life is. It gives a sensation that feels like being drunk off happiness, love and peace. I know, where do I get this stuff? I'm just that good. However, behind this waterfall is a well-kept secret. Scroll down for said secret. Okay, you caught me, there isn't any secret. Grimmjow appeared in a flash in the sky, directly under the sun. High enough so he couldn't be discovered, the Ranker observed the city in front of him. So this is Takigakure, Grimmjow mused in his head. Well, it's certainly smaller than Konoha, but let's see what their shinobi could do. He eyed the tallest, grandest looking building at the center of the city. That's a good place to start. I wonder if their leader is there. If he is, well then I have to introduce myself. Breaking out into one of his signature sadistic grin, he flew with a burst of speed, suddenly breaking the sound barrier and releasing a large sonic boom that reverberated for miles. Remember that hint? Aiming at a window at the topmost level, he broke through the wall beside it. Boom. After the dust caused by the impact cleared out into the newly formed hole, Grimmjow noticed 2 individuals, one, a girl with spiky mint green hair, and the other a tall well-built man with spiky black hair gaping at him. Before they could react, Grimmjow released a bit of his spiritual pressure, just enough that they would drop to the floor, but not enough to kill them. What to do now? Grimmjow mused once again before a thought came to his head. Walking at a leisurely pace, he stopped in front of the girl's head. Staring at her defiant orange eyes, he broke into another sadistic grin. How's it going, foo? I am here to bust you out of these freaking place. What? A few minutes ago in front of the Kage's office. Fu was not having a good day. It probably started when she petted that little black cat in the alley and the Anbu came with their swords drawn. They claimed they thought she was in danger, but she could see the hatred in their eyes. They just wanted an excuse to scare her, too bad they failed. Now that she thinks about it. Her best guess was when that mob came for her. All because she beat up a guy who called her a slut to her face. Now how is that fair? After all, it's not her fault that the bastard is in the hospital, he asked for it. Normally a civilian mob wasn't so bad because they were easy to scare off, but this one had some shinobi in it. Inwardly, she groaned. All because of that damn seal. When she was born and the 7 tails was sealed into her, some smart-ass shinobi created a binding seal on her and left the instructions in his last page in his book and published it. It isn't really that bad, she considered. The seal created an invisible barrier that prevented people from coming too close to her, protecting her from would-be rapists and drunk ninja. After all, no one wanted to mess with a mobile Fu. Look what happened to that bastard from before. She once again cursed the author of that darn book. Thanks to him she was stuck there bored to death since the only thing to do was ignore the angry cries of the mob and their attacks on the barrier. It was only when the Anbu who were watching received an order from the leader of the village to bring her did they finally disperse the mob. Only after that then she was finally set free. What she wouldn't do to get that damn author. What kind of fucking name is Blaystar anyway? That fucking book was in the Ninja Academy's curriculum for Kami's sake. For those of you who are curious, my book is called How to Avoid Getting Your Ass Kicked by a Girl by Blaystar, also available How to Stop Your Wife from Whipping You by Blaystar. You can also find the sequel What to Do When Your Wife Found Out That You Read the First Book. And my personal hit bestseller My Wife Caught Me Reading the Sequel and Now I Am in Hospital. What can I do now? Try putting that in a book cover. In the bookstore next to you right beside Icha Icha. Calming herself down. Fu took a deep breath and took a glance at where the Anbu had brought during her distraction while she was busy with her thoughts. She was in the seating room with a redeed secretary with glasses was glaring at her. The Anbu motioned for her to enter. She braced herself for the confrontation she knew was coming. The green-haired Kuinachi entered the room but not before giving the rude secretary the finger. Ha ha. That was priceless, Fu quietly chuckled at the shocked face of the secretary. Mentally she replayed that scene over and over again. Fu. Until that voice brought her out of her thoughts and into the real world with her archenemy. Staring down her foe, Fu calmly stated. Hello Shu. Shu Fuwaki was well-known player. With his slick back hair, striking blue eyes and sexy smirk, he is beloved by every female in the village, ranging from the old crones to the little girls and the beautiful women in between. He was the only one in the eyes of the villagers worthy to lead them, and now he's become the most powerful person in the village. Not bad considering he is still in his 20s, but too bad he is nothing more than a spoilt brat. If you take away the good looks, the charm and the money, never forget the money. Hello Fu, smirked Shu, getting into more trouble. TSK, how naughty of you. Already used to this, Fu merely ignored him. Unless you called me here for a good reason Shu. I will wipe that smirk of your face, threatened Fu. And rip out something else too, just for my own pleasure, she added. Shu frowned as he caught Fu's meaning. It is a constant embarrassment to him that Fu was the only girl ever to dump him. When you add the fact that she is also the only girl he never slept with, you can understand how deep that shame was to his pride. That the despised and hated Fu was the only girl ever to rebuke his advances was something he will never forget. Briefly spinning around in his chair he continued, don't forget Fu, I am now your superior, so you will show me respect. Fu merely rolled her eyes. And then pigs would fly and you would actually grow some balls. So why am I here? Realizing that he could not win this time, Shu decided to go straight to the point. The reason you are here my dear Fu is because of the report on your Anbu training. Shu's fingers traced the fine wooden design of his desk before resting on a plain brown folder. Picking it up dramatically, he made a show of skimming it all the while knowing that Fu could only guess whether it was her report or not. Truthfully, it was filled with pictures from his activities with a blonde and his redeed secretary last night. Lucky bastard. Putting the folder down slowly, Taki's leader decided to start. Well then let me tell you your report. It states that you aced your tests on evasion, surveillance, assassination, ninjutsu and taijutsu. The highest marks this village has ever seen, however you failed your seduction and genjutsu tests. You could release genjutsu, but apparently couldn't cast one to save your worthless life. That doesn't matter though if you can release it. Also you didn't even attempt to try your seduction tests and never attended a single seduction lesson. But the sigh he finished. So Fu, despite your excellent skills you still aren't fit to be a Anbu member. As long as you don't pass the seduction exam you just can't. I'm sorry. I really am. Fu was shocked. She felt her world crashing down. If she couldn't be Anbu member, how was she supposed to leave the village? She could barely leave the village as a jounin. You got to be kidding me. Since when was seduction so important? I am a ninja. An assassin. It shouldn't matter whether or not I sleep with some prick for information during a mission. I could just as easily convince him with a kunai at his throat. It's not fair. The fiery Kunoichi exploded. Seeing as his ex was trying to take this all in, the playboy leader allowed Fu the luxury of a few seconds to relax before he calmly replied. But what if we want that prick alive? If it is beneficial to Taki for said prick to still breathe, then isn't it better for that Kunoichi to use her assets for the good of the village? Shu lazily drawled, but his eyes were sharp. Watching Fu open her mouth to make a retort, he cut her off. Shinobi are tools of the village, willing to kill and fuck for the safety of the village. If you truly wish to be an Anbu member for this village, you must be willing to sacrifice it all. Your life and virginity included. Ah. I don't even like this village that much, grumbled Fu. Yet you are the Taki's ultimate weapon, Fu. You are the Seven-Tails Jinchuriki, one of the stronger beasts in existence. We cannot afford to lose you, but if you still want to be an Anbu member, I could give you another opportunity, Shu retorted. Really? Asked Fu suspiciously. She trusted Shu Fuwaki as much as she loved the village. It is simple, Fu. See, all you have to achieve your dream of being an Anbu to gain some of the freedom you so desperately crave to lie down and take it like a bitch as I pound into your nice ass. He calmly stated. -3 seconds later. Boom. Back to the present. How's it going, Fu? I am here to bust you out of these freaking place. What? Fu was stunned. But can you blame her? The leader of her village had just shamelessly admitted he wanted to fuck her in the bluntest way imaginable, and by the time the information has been processed in her head, some guy breaks through the wall and says he is here to bust her out. You're Fu, right? Yeah. The name's Grimmjow and Gaara sent me to bust you out. Wait, did you say Gaara? Exclaimed Fu with huge hearts in the place of her eyes. She has a huge crush on Gaara ever since he saved her from impending doom during one of her rare missions out of the village in Wave Country. You will hear about it later. I promise on the life of my sister and the glue. Oh, hang on, I just got a message that she died, so well, let's carry on then. With a sigh, Grimmjow released his spiritual power, allowing the Shu and Fu to get up. Who the fuck are you? Shu demanded, only to step back in fear after taking in the full appearance of the intruder. Like I am going to bother repeating my name for a piece of shit like you. The Aranker retorted before turning around and facing Fu. Look, Fu, I know this village treats you like crap because that's how my village used to treat me. I can't promise you a better life, but I can promise that you will be free from them. Fu weighed the words in her head. On one hand, she could stay in the village and be miserable, or she could go with the psychopath and see what happens from there. Then again, there's Gaara. Well then, let's go after I have a talk with Shu. Snarled Fu. Grimmjow could easily smell the bloodlust from the Jinchuriki. He liked it. Sure, go ahead, replied Grimmjow with a shrug. Meanwhile, Shu, who had fallen onto his chair and had just gotten up, was beside himself with rage. Fu, the leader of Taki, barked, know your place and defend this village from this thing. Shouted Shu with a large grin forming on his face as he watched Fu easily go into her two-tailed state. Only from that grin to vanish and leave behind a pathetic whimper as he realized she was headed in the wrong direction, towards him. Fu, stop it right now or I will be forced to use this. Shu demanded while holding his hands in a hand sign and performing a sequence Fu had seen many times. Acting quickly, she lunged at her ex, her face set in a vicious snarl, but she was too late. As soon as Shu finished the final hand sign, 7 pillars rose, encircling Fu. On each pillar stood a hideous winged gargoyle with a snarl etched on its face. Bright green light shone from the eyes of each stone gargoyle to another and another until the light was reflected from them all. The light fell down like a curtain enclosing Fu inside the pillars from every angle. An enraged Fu slashed the walls of light with her charca-coated claws, but to no avail. TSK, Fu, I must say I am disappointed in you. Oh well, now after this guy is dead, I guess I will have to punish you. Smirked Shu. Fu knew better than to waste her strength on the barrier, and with a growl she reverted back to normal. Both of them conveniently forgot about the third member in the room who was currently inspecting the barrier around Fu. It seems as if the light comes from the gargoyle. If the gargoyles are destroyed, shouldn't the barrier be too? It can't be that simple, could it? But that thought in mind, Grimmjow stopped walking right below one of the gargoyles and gave it an uppercut which snapped the head off cleanly. Thud. All eyes were on the head as it rolled to a stop in front of Grimmjow. Without any delay, he stomped on the head and turned it to dust. The barrier, however, remained solid and impenetrable. Did you really think it was that simple? Mocked Shu. Unable to hold her frustration, Fu bashed her head on the barrier. Or tried to. In her attempt to smash it with her face, she somehow passed through it like it was mist and promptly fell down in shock. Yes, Grimmjow sweat dropped. The barrier then winked out of existence without a single sound escaping. It was as if it was never there in the first place. Yes, so Fu ready to go, remarked Grimmjow. The light blue-haired ranker turned to regard Fu only to sweat drop instead. On Fu's face was a look of absolute awe. Still fixed on the ground, she continued to stare at the spot where her former prison was. I'm free, she muttered in her shock. Do you know what the hell you've done? Screamed Shu, beside himself with rage. So caught up was he in his anger that he did not notice the steadily growing killing intent near him. The seal containing the 7 tails broken. I will go down as one of the worst if not the worst cage Taki ever had. You bastard. I will have your head for this. Good luck with that, chuckled Grimmjow, but in the meantime shouldn't you be dealing with your subordinate? Ha-ack. Was all Shu was able to choke out. After all, it is kind of hard to talk when a pissed off Kunoichi is clutching your throat. Now then, I definitely remember warning you that if I wasn't here for a good reason I would rip something out, Fu stated with a demonic smirk. And really don't think talking about my ass is good reason at all. She shouldn't help but enjoy watching Shu's face lose what color it retained. Say goodbye to your pride, Fu raised a fist, but before she could carry out her intended threat, she was hoisted up in the air by a certain ranker, also causing her to lose her grip on her ex-boyfriend. Hey, what the hell, let me go, damn it, screamed Fu, angry at losing her chance of payback. I don't have time for games, Fu. Muttered Grimmjow. Hoisting her over his shoulder, he made his way to leave, but halt. For the attempted murder of Shu Fuwaki and treason against Takigakura and all her citizens, we place you, Fu, and your associate under arrest. No sooner was this said when a squad of 4 Taki Anbu appear, with their weapons drawn, they encircled Fu and said, associate. Grimmjow, right, would you please put me down so I can help you? Asked Fu, a bit peeved to be arrested in such an embarrassing position. Grimmjow pretended to think about it. No. Chapter 8. The King's Return to Suna. That's your report. Jinzo Tachiwai stated, incredulous. At least 15 minutes had gone by before the hole at the top of the Takakage's office was reported. Already stressed with calming the fearful villagers, as the commander of the Taki's own Anbu division, he didn't really feel like dealing with any more crazy today. Flashbacks at Jiho's coffee parlor. Thanks for the coffee, Seo Jinzo let out a smirk at seeing the normally brash waitress blush a deep crimson before walking away from his table. He always knew she had a crush on him. He inhaled the inviting aroma of the freshly made beverage and was just about to take a sip when. End result. Mass hysteria, panic, and let's not forget everyone screaming their little heads off. Not even a bloody cup of coffee before shit goes down. The Anbu commander muttered before drinking his coffee. Sonic boom, anyone, ring a bell. Flashback ends. Yes sir, replied the Anbu. He was one of the bodyguards for the currently missing Takakage, Shu Fuwaki. The hole appeared at the northern wall of the office, then a blue-haired man with a hole in his chest and what appeared to be a right jawbone on his face suddenly showed up and picked up Arjun Chiriki and managed to destroy the barrier meant to contain her and disappeared. The bodyguard blinked as if he just realized how crazy he sounded. And what about the Takakage? Jinzo glared sternly at the man. Duellum. Plus, what does the hole in the wall have to do with the man? Did he come out of the hole, which implies that he climbed over 500 feet since no other building in Takigakura comes close to this one. Was he a ninja who used chakra? No, not possible since this place is warded so no one who is in it or even touches it can use chakra. If no, then did the man in question walk through the front door? Then how did he make it past security and your team? And again, where's the Takakage since he was under your surveillance and protection? What are you, a rookie? Answer me, damn it. Jinzo continued to hound the flustered man for answers, but the poor guy was actually new to his job and it was his first week, so the resulting answers were less than forthcoming. Commander Jinzo, we have found the Takakage's body, reported a nearby Anbu squad member. Finally, we're getting somewhere, answered Jinzo. He was discovered over there. The Anbu member helpfully pointed at the direction of the corpse's current position at the southern edge of the room. Briskly striding to the area, Jinzo quietly examined the deceased cage. Apart from some dust, there seems to be no damage whatsoever. The brunnied Anbu commander muttered, studying the motionless body in front of him. No bruising or signs of broken bones, how odd though, agreed another Anbu, a veteran this time. What's wrong? Asked a confused rookie bodyguard. Our leader does not seem to have been attacked or injured, yet he was obviously terrified beyond belief. Sometimes just before death or due to torture a person feels so much gut-wrenching fear and terror that against their will their body muscles relax, thus releasing any excrements left in the body. This is clearly the case here. The veteran gestured towards a rather noticeable stain covering the front of the Takakage's robes, then the relatively large bulge in the Takakage's hindquarters. Oh, muttered the rookie, fully aware of the fact that never in the history of the elemental nations has a cage ever done something so shameful till today. Nobles and daimyos, yes, this can be expected of the cowardly ones with weak willpower, but a cage. The very epitome of strength and wisdom in each hidden village. This was a first, and the rookie could take no pride in being here to witness this, especially from the cage he was supposed to protect. Obviously he wasn't the only one to feel the shame. Still he was the only one who didn't know how to take advantage of such opportunity. Click. 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 Okay, first a funeral, then 3 days of mourning, and then back to work. The Anbu veteran improvised, waiting for confirmation from his superior. It's not your call to make, and besides 3 days isn't enough, 5 days of mourning, then we elect a new cage and have a celebration, then, and only then can we go back to work. After all, we need the citizens to forget that the prick even existed instead of just letting them grieve for 50 fucking days and nights. Corrected Jinzo. Yes sir, Lord Anbu Commander sir. Smack smack smack. The two men turned their attention on the rookie who had decided to pass the time by cheerfully slapping his former boss across the face. Just checking to make he is dead, sir. The rookie happily chirped. Erg, moaned the dead cage. Crap, muttered the rookie. Pla's back few minutes ago. It's your lucky day, Fu. I am in a good mood, so I will let you have your fun. Decided Grimmjow, abruptly dropping Fu on the floor. Just hurry it up. I don't plan on sticking here too long. Just give me 5 minutes, Fu advanced on the panic-stricken leader. Why, you wouldn't dare. My guards will stow shoes. Terrified rambling was cut once he took a glance at the location his Anbu used to occupy. My guards. I snapped their necks and threw the corpses out the window. Grimmjow cleaned his ear with finger thoughtfully. You would have noticed earlier if you weren't busy pumsing like a pansy, he explained. But when did you? Shu's reply was cut off with a yelp as he just noticed a two-tailed awakened Fu lunged at him with chakra talons outstretched. But they weren't aimed for his neck. But rather somewhere lower. No, an arg. Pla's back ends now. At the end of that thought, the Takakage quickly checked under his robe, only to sigh in relief. His treasured jewels and manhood were still intact. Well, that explains the mashed up bodies on the sidewalk. Observed the Anbu veteran. Those stains were bodies. I thought some drunks just made a mess, said Jinzo, shocked at this information. Forget about the stains. The enraged leader screamed, find Fu and that blue-haired bastard and bring them here in chains. Otherwise I will have your head, Jinzo. Threatened Shu. I rather like my head. It goes well with my body, the Anbu commander objected. Just like everyone will like this photo of our venerated leader. He then nonchalantly tossed the picture to the venerated village leader, whose face paled before ripping the picture in a frenzy. Now why would you destroy a perfectly good piece of evidence, grinned Jinzo, especially when there are at least 16 copies by now, thanks to my Bunshin no Jutsu, body clone jutsu. Now, if you don't want those pictures being seen by the whole of Taki. We gonna need to talk about some changes around here. Desperately the cornered Takakage looked towards the other two Anbu for help. A hope that quickly faded after witnessing the face-splitting grins on their faces. Defeated, he glared at the Anbu commander. Fine, damn it, what do you want? And just like that, Jinzo knew he was gonna have a great day. Suna. Fu squealed, jumping stoic Kazekage with fervor. I see you succeeded in your mission, thank you, commented the comrade deed, though how anybody could be calm with a fiery Kanachi like Fu straddling them is beyond my comprehension. And yours too, don't lie to me. It was nothing, grunted Grimmjow. Do me a favor though and send me some decent opponents next time. I didn't even get a decent warm-up. Alright. Gara agreed. Now if you don't mind Grimmjow, I would like to get a snack. Is it alright if we take a break? Don't worry about all, I am a Sanito master, the Aranker replied before disappearing and reappearing with a bowl of ground liver and salted tongue. Gara's favorite food, a bowl of freshly cooked ramen, some things never change, and a bowl of tampons for food. Yes, he is being on purpose. Thanks, the Kazekage murmured in appreciation as he was handed the food. What about you, Fu? That bowl of tampons isn't going to use itself. Grimmjow glanced at Fu, whose jaw had just dropped to the floor. But you can teleport. She shouted. Grimmjow took in her distraught state and decided have some fun. Yes, he drawled, I can teleport. It really is a wonderful ability. You should try it sometimes. Weeks. She wailed, we spent 3 bloody weeks on the road, sleeping in taverns, eating what the hell is this on a stick, and don't get me started on the hangovers from those drinking games you dragged me to. And you are telling me all this time that you could have teleported here in an instant. Grimmjow shrugged. You couldn't have teleported with me, right? She tried to make sense of the revelation. That's why we had to take that long journey, so you knew I would be safe as you can't teleport other people, she reasoned. In response, Grimmjow raised his finger, vanished. And reappeared 2 seconds later with a terribly confused janitor named Enrique. Wait, where the hell am I? Asked the poor janitor. At that instance, Fu's mind shut down. She didn't notice her leap from Gara's lap, didn't register the fact that her hands were outstretched to rip Grimmjow's throat apart. And she certainly didn't notice the tendril of sand that wrapped around her waist and yanked her to the floor. But she did notice Gara sweet-talking her. Equals what Gara says in real life. "Fu, calm down," Gaara stated firmly. His brother Kankuro told him once that the only way to get a woman to listen is to be firm and unyielding towards her. But Fu hears. "Fu, my love, no need to play her off." Gaara stated firmly. His brother Kankuro told him once to always be honest when it comes to matters of the heart. Back to reality. As Kazukiage, I will not allow violence in my office. In Fu's perception. As your future husband, I command you to strip down for me in my office. Warning ist attempt at sexiness. If too young, skip the next paragraph. If not, did I do a great job? Someone give me pointers. Real life. Okay, Gaara-sama, she purred seductively. Swaying her hips to a beat that only she could hear. She began by trailing her fingers languidly down her waist to her skirt and shorts, which she then proceeded to remove as sensually as possible while flaunting her creamy cocoa thighs and orange. Laying on the floor, sweat started to glisten on her skin as she slowly grounds her hips into the cool surface while releasing soft lusty moans. Arching her body towards her Kazukiage, she astounds him with a tantalizing view while snaking her fingers once more down her body. First to the gyrating hips, then back up, this time to her perky breasts. Her golden brown eyes hooded with desire, she lightly pinches her left nipple, drawing out a gasp from within her. Panting, she whispered breathlessly. Gaara, oh Gaara-sama. Whoa, should we leave? Asked Enrique quietly, unable to tear his eyes from the scene playing out in front of him. Do you want to? Grimmjow said curtly. No, they both grinned, pulling a seat for them to enjoy the show. Bam. Suddenly the door slams open, with two Kunoichi tumbling through. Gaara-sama. Leaving three pair of shocked eyes to stare at the newcomers Mitsuri and Sari, also known as soon as #1 contenders for Gaara's love. How did they get that title? Let's just say that in a blood-soaked battle royal to the bitter end between Gaara's most hardcore fangirls and Sunathi. Remind me to show this battle royal scene later. After all, this is M-rated for a reason, the fangirls duh. Mitsuri, Sari, why are you two covered in blood? Questioned the ever so popular Kazukiage. Never mind that, Gaara, we sensed something bad was happening to you in our hearts and come to save you, raved a near hysterical Sari. Her friend Mitsuri was silent, staring quite emotionlessly at Fu, who had leaped back to Gaara's lap at the intrusion. Aren't you Fu? The normally shy Mitsuri demanded. Then again, every true Gaara fanatic knows about Fu, the girl who claimed to be Gaara's true lover, and to enforce that claim, beat up practically every man, woman and child, regardless of whether they even knew who Gaara was, until she was finally acknowledged as the #1 contender for Gaara's love in Kiri, Taki. Konoha and Sound, until she was forced to flee or face Orochimaru's wrath, but still. Wow. So basically the ultimate Gaara fangirl showdown is upon us. Welcome to WWG. What if Naruto is Grimmjow in Bleach? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.